high in the cold, silent mountains where no one hears your screams and secrets are meant to stay buried. A lonely man lived a life of isolation, far from the world and its judgment. But one stormy night, everything changed. As thunder rolled across the peaks, he stepped outside his cabin and looked up only to freeze in horror. A blonde woman was hanging from the edge of his roof, her life slipping away with every second. And above her, burned deep into the wood, were two words that shattered his past and threatened his future: Apache Lover. What did they mean, and why were they written on his home? The mountain man didn't think he acted. Ignoring the storm, he climbed onto the slick roof, his hands shaking as he grabbed the woman's wrist just in time. She was cold, barely conscious, and far too light, as if life was already leaving her body. When he pulled her inside the cabin and laid her near the fire, his eyes drifted back to the roof beam. The burned words stared back at him like an accusation. He hadn't seen those words in years. Yet somehow, they had never truly left him. As the fire crackled, the woman whispered a name in her sleep, one he hadn't heard since his youth. It was an Apache name. His chest tightened. The mountains had been his escape, his punishment, and his hiding place. But now, with those words burned into his roof, it felt as if the past had climbed the mountain just to find him. Outside, the storm eased, but inside his mind, another storm raged. He remembered the land before fences, before blood was spilled in silence. The mountains remembered everything, even when people tried to forget. The words weren't just burned into wood, they were burned into his conscience. When the woman finally opened her eyes, fear wasn't what he saw. It was resolve. She didn't ask where she was. She asked why he lived there. Her voice was weak, but her gaze was sharp, as if she already knew every answer. That's when he realized she hadn't come by accident. She told him the truth. She wasn't a victim left to die. She was a messenger. The words on the roof were meant to force a confession, not from his mouth, but from his soul. Someone wanted him to finally face what he'd done, or what he had allowed to happen. Years ago, an Apache man was accused, beaten, and burned, while others watched and said nothing. The mountain man had been there. He hadn't lit the fire, but he hadn't stopped it either. Silence had saved his life and destroyed another. The woman explained that justice delayed was still justice demanded. The community hadn't forgotten, even if the world had. Now the choice was his: stay silent again and let another innocent suffer, or finally speak the truth and lose the only life he had left. As dawn broke, distant sirens echoed through the valley. Someone had reported the scene. The woman stood, steady now, ready to tell her story. The mountain man realized this was the final test. The mountains had given him solitude, but not forgiveness. When authorities arrived, he didn't run. He didn't deny. He spoke. Every word felt like fire leaving his chest. The truth hurt, but it also healed something he thought was long dead. The woman watched silently as the weight of decades finally lifted. The cabin still stands on the mountain, weathered and scarred. The words on the roof are gone, burned away with time. But the story remains of guilt, courage, and a truth that refused to stay hidden. Because no matter how high you climb, the past always finds a way to speak. As the mountains fell silent once more, the truth finally found its voice. Some stories are not meant to punish, but to remind us that silence can wound just as deeply as fire. If this story moved you, made you reflect, or touched your heart, then you already understand the power of kindness, courage, and truth. This is Miracles of Kindness, where hidden pain meets human compassion. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share it with someone who believes that even the darkest secrets can lead to redemption.